Hey everyone, welcome back to Mike's Movie Talk, the show where we talk about movies. I'm Mike Myers, and today I have a very special guest with me today, Joey Fletcher, and we're going to be talking about Whiplash.
Whiplash.
Right. What a movie. I mean...
It's such like an emotionally intense movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
definitely.
I remember the first time I watched it, it was like late at night, I was watching it in my room, and then it ended, and I just stared at the screen for a few minutes because I was like, okay.
You just gotta process it.
This is a thing that just happened. I don't know how I would explain it to someone who hasn't seen it, because if you think you just take it out of context, the premise might not seem the most interesting, but you've just gotta watch it. It's so good.
Yeah. So just some background info on the movie. It came out in 2014. It was written and directed by Damien Chazelle, which we will also talk a lot about him. And it follows jazz drummer Andrew Neiman, who is pushed to his limits by his instructor, Terrence Fletcher. Is there any relation there, Joey?
I don't think so.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah.
Pushed to his limits by his instructor at a prestigious music conservatory. So, I do want to talk a little bit about Damien Chazelle, because this was his breakout movie, and it garnered so many Academy Awards. Really just put him on the stage for him to be able to go on and make La La Land, which was just blew everything out of the water too, and movies like First Man too, which is his most recent. So yeah, I know we're both fans of Damien Chazelle, big fans.
Right.
And his events really have not gone unnoticed at all, because throughout his 3 movies, he has had 23 Academy Award nominations.
Woohoo!
And 10 wins for all the movies.
Should have gotten Best Picture.
Which one?
Whiplash? Well, did you not see that? So, do you remember the Oscars that year, 2017?
27. No.
That's when they gave him Best Picture.
Oh, that was
accident.
Yeah, and then it was Moonlight.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know how that. I still don't know how that happened. They got the wrong card or something, or they misread it.
It was just so weird. Granted, I haven't seen Moonlight. I probably should have.
Moonlight is a really good movie as well.
But I was that must be so emotionally devastating. You get you've been working so hard for this moment, and you get the trophy, and they're like, "Oopsies!
Wait a minute, guys! We messed up."
Yeah.
Oh my god! I mean, the emotional roller coaster that he went through, and everybody went through that worked on that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was the youngest person to win Best Director. When he won for La La Land, he was 32.
Okay.
And another little fun fact here about when he was filming Whiplash, he was in a serious car accident and he was hospitalized during the last week of filming the movie. But he returned to set the next day to finish it on time.
Okay, so that's
It's kind of like in the actual
movie, yeah.
When Andrew's in a serious car accident.
Yeah, it's
he gets to the performance.
He's just covered in blood.
I know.
He's trying to That's just so weird. I did not know
It's so
that.
weird.
Yeah.
I can imagine Damien Chazelle just covered in blood coming to set and being like, guys, I can finish the movie. He's just
was it how bad was it?
I don't know. I didn't see any pictures or anything, but I just read he was seriously injured.
Oh my god.
And hospitalized. So
Jeez.
I don't know for how long. Well, it had to be less than 24 hours because he went to set the next day.
Jeez. That is insane.
Crazy dedication to this man. What do you think about Damien Chazelle as a whole?
Okay, so growing up, I was really into musicals, right? And I loved watching La La Land. It was one of my favorites growing up. And then that kind of just started looking at some of his other works, Guy and Madeline on a Park Bench, which is a really, really cool one.
I have not seen that one.
It's a black and white film he made when he was I think he was in college when he made it. It's kind of like a romance, but it's really cool. And then also I don't remember, I think it was pretty recently, he directed a series called The Eddy, which is really cool. It's a French-American show. It's about a little jazz club in Paris. Someone gets murdered and all that. And also, I have not seen First Man yet. I really want to. It's just I haven't got into it.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time I watched Whiplash, it was kind of like, yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind
There's
of
a lot of words to describe this movie.
So, like, for me, one of the things is I grew up playing violin, right? And I've done that all my life. Like, I've had, like, abusive music teachers before. So that kind of, like, not to that level, but, like, like, that kind of, like, hit home for me. So, it's cool. Like, I was just blown away.
Yeah. And, I mean, as for me, as someone who's never been, like, musically inclined at all, you know, I look at this movie and it's just, like, I mean, you can go into this movie, like, even if you don't even like music in general, and you can come out and be like, wow, it was just a great movie. And
that's something I love, like, going back to just, like, Damien Chazelle in general, all of his movies and all of his work have such good music. And that's due in large part to, like, his collaborator, longtime friend, Justin Hurwitz. He was involved in Whiplash, right?
I think so.
I'm
not sure.
I know he was involved in most of his productions, but, like, music, if it's not, like, part of the plot, is still, like, a huge aspect of his films.
Yeah. Of any movie, really.
Yeah.
And so that's just a thing that just ties all his movies together. So Whiplash began as an 18-minute short film, like, a few years before, and it was based on Damien Chazelle's experience with a harsh jazz instructor when he was in high school. Obviously, it wasn't to the extent that it is in Whiplash. He just kind of like amped that character up. But he initially didn't want to show the Whiplash script to anyone. Like, didn't want to like show it around to see if he could get financiers and producers for it because he thought it was too personal, which is interesting. It is a very personal movie to begin with.
And I feel like that's like clear. Like, it's very authentic as a film. Like you'll like. When you're watching it, like, you can kind of, like, see, like, through the plot and, like, see kind of, like, how his experiences might have shaped that vision. But, yeah, it's just, like, a very authentic film.
Yeah. I would say, too, just, like, I mean, we're going to talk about the performances in a minute, but, like, the whole thing feels very real, and just when you're watching it, you just get sucked in, like, immediately. Even when I was just watching a clip of it, you're like, just the way the performances bring out just a wide range of just dread. I mean, there's so many different feelings in the different scenes.
And it's so easy to empathize with Newman.
Oh yeah,
like, it just draws you in, and you just like
so
feel
intense.
Really bad for him. Like, because like towards the start of the movie, like the very beginning, you're watching it and you're like, assuming you know something about it, you know it's about like an abusive music teacher, and you watch it and you're like, okay, this Fletcher guy, he's not like terrible, and then it just like escalates so quickly, like the what is it? The scene, like, not quite my tempo.
Yeah, that's the clip that I watched. One of the clips, yeah.
Like, it just, like, so he's like...
Not quite my tempo. It's all good. No worries. Here we go.
Let's try this again. And then just, like, hurls a chair at him, and I'm like...
I know.
Jeez.
It's so scary. And I love J.K. Simmons.
Oh, yeah. I love him for his work at the Farmers Insurance commercial.
Oh, my... exactly.
I was like... the same guy.
Yeah.
It's so funny because it's so drastic.
Oh my god, I know. And you wouldn't think, like, I mean, some people might think, but, like, initially, like, oh, like, J.K. Simmons would be perfect for this role of the terrifying, abusive music instructor. But I was like, I mean, when you watch him in this, he is so scary. He's so terrifying. And he's super smart. He's manipulative. And just from the scene where he, like, in the beginning, where he throws the chair across the room, you know he's like, oh my god, you don't know what he's going to do next. He's so unpredictable. Yeah. It's just, the way he plays that character is just incredible.
So the thing with a lot of people who are, like musicians with abusive teachers is, and I feel like the film portrayed this very well, is, like, the teachers or the mentor or whatever can be, like, an objectively, like, terrible person, but you still want to impress them, right? You still want them to be, like, happy with the work you did, and that's what he said in I I don't remember which scene it was. It's good job is like the most dangerous words in the English language.
Oh yeah.
Like, and like for a lot of people, that's just really hard because like you can't like you're so afraid of like disappointing someone, and it just like shows like so clearly in the character of Neiman because like he's this like kind of shy kid. He's like trying to become the best drummer he can, and then he's hurled into this world, and he's just like trying so hard to get like to the next level, and he just keeps getting pushed down and down, and it's like so devastating to watch, you know.
I mean, the emotions are just like once you get sucked into this movie, you're there with him, and it's just like a roller coaster. And I want to talk about too a little bit, like, you know, the way that I mean, obviously it's very problematic student-teacher relationship in this movie. There's no doubt about that. But what Fletcher like kind of instills in Andrew is just like it kind of gets to like the danger of obsession and like the toll it takes because Andrew is just like that's all he thinks about. That's like
and like the scenes where he's
everything
practicing,
else. Yeah.
scenes where he's practicing, and you can see like the blood spilling from his hands, like like it eventually like it affects his family too, right?
Oh yeah.
It destroys his relationship with his family. It destroys, you know, his relationship, like his romantic relationships too.
Yeah, that was the one too. I know the breakup scene is like a really popular scene. That was just really like, you know, you could tell that she really cared about him, but he's just like, yeah, this is how it's going to be. You know, I've got to focus on my drumming because that's all that really matters, and this is how it's going to play out. And so he's just like, I can't do it with you, and just like stuff like that is just like you're just like, wow, you know.
Yeah, like I think one of the most interesting features of the film is how Neiman becomes more assertive as the film goes on, but not always in good ways.
Yeah.
Granted, towards the end, like that kind of like results in the finale, but like, and like
it's not all like a. I mean, we can talk about the ending too, but like it's not all positive development.
Yeah, and like I guess one of the things is like an argument can be made with like really demanding mentors and teachers if they're just pushing their students to be like stronger or like more assertive and the way they practice their art, but that's not always a good thing, right?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like I definitely see that.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about I have a quote from Damien Chazelle about J.K. Simmons on the movie, and he said to J.K. Simmons, I don't want to see a human being on screen anymore. I want to see a monster, a gargoyle, an animal. He said that to him. And, you know, watching the movie, it seems like he took that to heart.
Because, like, you're watching it, and you're like expecting there to be, like, some nuance to the character, right? And then he just, like, goes full at it. Like, it's, like, the way he goes from 0 to 10.
Oh my god,
it's just like
it's so scary.
It's so terrifying.
Yeah.
But no, like I can definitely see that come through. And I think that speaks a lot to J.K. Simmons as an actor. Is that he can show like at first you're watching it and you're thinking like, okay, he may not be as terrible as you'd expect, and then you keep watching and you're like, okay. It's just so like how he expresses the different like emotions is just like utterly terrifying.
Yeah, and there was one scene I remember where one of the like ensemble was messing up, and but it was another person that was messing up, and he tricked someone. He was like, "What are you doing wrong? What are you doing wrong?" And he's like, "I don't know." He's like, "Are you off tune?" He's like, "I don't know."
Yeah,
and then he's just like, "Get out of here!" And then after he left, he was like, "Yeah, he wasn't off tune. It's just more of a danger if you don't know you're off tune than if you actually are."
Yeah, and that's like
public humiliation too, and just like he's so manipulative and just has just instills fear into every one of his students, and they're like, oh my god, you know.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to speak incorrectly, but I'm pretty sure some people criticize the film for maybe like painting him, and I don't think the film paints him in a positive light in any way.
Yeah.
But like I feel like some people have criticized the film for like justifying his behavior, which I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like the way I look at it is, I don't feel like it justifies. I don't feel like it justifies his behavior, but I don't know. Maybe just people don't like the ambiguity.
I mean, he is abusive.
Yeah. No, like he's an objectively terrible person.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel like he justifies like Terrence Fletcher justifies it himself as like, oh, I just want to have the best students, and this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
But it's just pushed to the extremes. Oh, and then this is funny. Damien Chazelle also, you know, we're talking about just how much of a monster he was on screen, but he said of J.K. Simmons that he was as sweet as can be in between takes.
It does not surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me either. I love J.K. Simmons.
He seems like a nice, like a grandpa type.
Yeah. And you know, if he wasn't, like, I mean, I can't imagine how much of a stressful movie this was to make anyway, because of just the like the intensity. But like, if he was just like a jerk off set, that would just be miserable for everyone. So
yeah, and like that's something I thought a lot about, like not necessarily while watching it, but like afterwards, some of the thoughts going through my head were like, man, like that must have been so like emotionally taxing on the actors and the crew too. Like honestly, like having to hear like the same, just like the words pouring from his mouth like 6-7 times in a row. That must be like devastating.
Yeah, and I did hear they had like really long work hours and stuff too. So
yeah,
that would have been exhausting. It's easy to feel empathetic for Andrew throughout the film, and that's another thing. Just as that shows about Miles Teller's acting in this movie as well.
Oh yeah, like it's very easy for his character to like pull you in, and like in a lot of ways, you experience the film as if you were Newman.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to like put yourself in his like seat in the conservatory, like you're there during these intense moments.
Yeah,
and I think that's what like makes it such a really just good movie to watch, really intense.
Yeah, and also the thing about Neiman that I noticed rewatching some of the scenes, his facial expressions are so good. Like that's like, I mean that's kind of like a thing. Like if you're an actor, they have to be good, but like I don't know, I just really noticed them, like how he portrays like insecurity and nervousness. It's just really, really accentuated.
And I think a lot of people can I mean, empathize with him too, but like, even if they haven't had, you know, I hope no one has had an extreme experience like in the movie, but like, everyone's had like that teacher that they're kind of like a little afraid of, and just like, you know, I mean, they're very common feelings, I feel like, and it's just when it's taken to the extreme like this, you're just like, oh my god, it's just, so.
Yeah.
Is there any topics that you would like to talk? I don't have anything else about like big things.
Definitely the finale.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. Yeah.
So the way it ends is Neiman, and I think it's just like his dad who helps him with this is like doing a lawsuit to get Fletcher forbidden from teaching again, which ultimately works out. He does it anonymously, right?
Yeah.
And one of my favorite bits is, so I don't remember exactly, like, I think he meets him in like some sort of restaurant, and he's like,
I think it's like a jazz club. Yeah.
A jazz club, yeah. So, and
Damien Chazelle really likes jazz.
Fletcher, no shit. Like, Fletcher, is like, we're doing this like concert in a little bit. Do you want to drum for it? And he's like, you know what? Sure. So the night comes, and I think it's just right as he's walking on stage, right? Fletcher's like, I know it was you.
Oh yeah.
And then they play, because he had told him that it's music he already knew. They played something like just completely different. And I think one of my favorite parts, and Neiman really shines right here, is just when he takes over.
Oh yeah.
He starts his own, like he starts playing Caravan, and he starts cueing the rest of the band in. And at first, Fletcher's like,
oh my
what?
god.
What is this kid doing? But at the end of it, and I feel like a lot of, like, the film doesn't show him in a positive light anyway, but I guess, like, what I was thinking, like, with the ambiguity is, like, he kind of just, like, at the end, he seems, like, proud of him, right? He seems accepting.
Yeah.
And then he does, like, the end of his solo, film cuts to black, and that's, like, kind of, like, the last thought that you're left on. So, like, I can kind of see, like, how some people are like, oh, that's the point. Like, he finally got him to, like, take his playing to the next level. But I feel like, I don't know. I don't know if that's the best take.
Yeah, I read some things too about like, where it's like, he finally proved himself to Fletcher.
Yeah.
But then it's almost like that Fletcher won in the end. Kind of.
Yeah, and that's probably a better way of saying it for sure. So like I can kind of see why people might take that away, but since that's like how it ended. But the way I see it is I see it because at this point he doesn't give a crap what Fletcher thinks, right?
Yeah.
He's just trying to prove to himself that he's the best. Yeah. That's kind of the way I take it.
Yeah, that makes sense now that I think about it like that.
Yeah.
That he's not doing it for Fletcher, he's doing it for himself too.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's a better outlook
Yeah.
than the other one.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else you wanna
Isn't there a part at the beginning, not at the beginning, but like in the first half of the film where he sabotages like some of the other drum players, like by like taking their music?
I think there was one part where I don't know if he sabotaged someone, but like one of the drummers couldn't find their sheet music, and so like Andrew had to like know it from memory to go in there. I think I should have watched the movie last night.
No, me too. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I vaguely remember that. I don't know. I like that the film has a lot of nuance to Neiman's character.
Yeah.
Just because like I don't know. I feel like it does a really good job of making him empathetic, but him also doing like making mistakes and like we were talking earlier about like hurting his relationships and stuff. So
he's definitely not perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree too. Like it's not if he was just like the relationship thing too. Which he was harsh on, what's her name, Nicole. I mean, that's part of his character and that's part of who he is as far as like his ultimate dedication to what he's passionate about. Yeah. Unfortunately, he's sacrificing relationships. But that's just another dimension to his character, even though it's not a positive one.
Yeah. So, I really liked that there was nuance.
Yeah. So, big takeaway. Is this your favorite Damien Chazelle movie?
I love this film. It is, like, it helped me, honestly, like, process a lot of the stuff from, like, when I was, like, a young musician. But, I love this film so much. But my first love is always going to be La La Land.
Yeah.
Just because that's, like, the first one I watched. And that was, like, the first movie I really got into. I was like...
Really?
Yeah, no, like, I was like, oh, this is so good. Like, it was, like, the first, like, I guess, cinematic movie I watched. And it just, like, did a really... I really enjoyed that. But I feel like Whiplash is definitely more, like...
They're very different movies.
Yeah, Whiplash is definitely more, like, emotionally mature, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I watched it after La La Land. Even though they're very, like, the one connecting thing to them both is jazz. So, which is cool. I think
they both explore jazz in very different ways.
Yeah, so I would say La La Land is definitely like still like my first love.
Yeah. That's what. Now that you say that, I'm trying to think of a movie that was like one of my first like big movies I really got into. That's a really good question to think about. I'm not gonna be able to think of it right now, but I will think on that later. Okay, so Damien Chazelle, he's working on his next movie, Babylon, which is kind of it's obviously very musically focused, but it's set in. It's also film focused. It's set like in the transition from silent movies to sound movies, like in the late 20s.
Yeah.
So I just saw a trailer for that, and it looks very very chaotic.
It's Damien Chazelle unhinged.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I just saw it before this, and I was like, it looks so remarkably different than anything he's ever done before. But I also see like some like the key little Damien Chazelle things about it, like like some of the key like I feel like he has like some go-to camera angles and like a few little I don't know how to call it, but like he does like this thing where he like has a subject here and a subject here, and then camera just pans back and forth so quickly and like it's so blurry, but it's just so cool. But like I can definitely see a few of the little Damien Chazelle things in there. But it's definitely like just from the looks of it, it looks way different. Yeah. And I feel like I was going to say I think it's his like first like rated R film, but Whiplash
it's got to be rated R.
Yeah. But I know Whiplash.
Wait, was Whiplash rated R?
Yes, because of language. Because
there
are a lot.
Yeah, it's got to be.
But like,
now that I think about it.
Yeah, but like if it weren't for the language, I feel like Whiplash would have been PG-13.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So nice little talk about a little movie called Whiplash.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed being on the show, Joey. Thank you so much for coming on. And thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.